Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Are you guys ready to have just a little bit of a, let's call it an adult talk? This is going to be something a little different for the channel. Now, this is something I've noticed, and this is just simply my opinion, but maybe you've noticed this as well. And this isn't just so much a trash talk for just that one publisher or the one group of developers. This is more or less a statement about the industry as a whole. I just think this one particular publisher has possibly seen the worst of all of this fallout. I'm talking about Warner Brothers. So I have to ask, is anyone else just slightly concerned about what's happening over at WB Games? It didn't really cross my mind until Mortal Kombat 1 started getting this huge media push. I mean, it felt like less of just normal media stuff, like, oh, you know, a commercial here and there, you know, some web advertisements on the side. It felt like a full-on PR stunt. Instead of talking about the features of the game leading up to Mortal Kombat 1's release, we were talking about Megan Fox, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh my God, they got Dave Bautista in a commercial. No, those are all really cool things. But does that really have to do anything with the game? So now the game's out, and we're kind of finding out that it's missing a lot of the features that Mortal Kombat 11 had. And if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, you feel completely ripped off. And that's coming from somebody who bought Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch. The fact that the newest version looks worse than the last version is not good. And I think all this does is highlight a bigger issue with Warner Brothers. It felt like Warner Brothers was really concerned about Mortal Kombat, and I don't really understand why. Mortal Kombat is a legacy name. It's not going anywhere. I have a Mortal Kombat arcade 1-up machine. I have a bunch of random Mortal Kombat copies of different versions of Mortal Kombat. It's tried and true. It's going to sell millions. You don't have to push it. So why did we have Ed Boon on Hot Ones? What's going on? Why did it all of a sudden feel like they were afraid? Or maybe not afraid, more like they just really needed this game to do well. Well, I think I might actually have an answer for that. Well, if you look at what Warner Brothers has put out in the last year, there's really nothing. Hogwarts Legacy did really good for them, and you have Mortal Kombat 1. Beyond that, there's really not much else. Let me back this up just a little bit. Let's talk about Gotham Knights. Oh my God, Gotham Knights should have been a slam dunk for WB. And I think everybody was kind of aware that something was wrong in the weeks leading up to the game's release because there was no excitement for it. What's even weirder is that they had one of the studios that has actually worked on a previous Arkham game, Arkham Origins, which is a game that I personally enjoyed the hell out of, and yet somehow we ended up with a bland, lifeless Gotham with terrible traversal, a bad story, not terrible cutscenes, but overall, just a complete schmear over the Arkham legacy. Now, I know they tried to say, oh, this isn't attached to Arkham, but it very much was. Through the fan standards, it was very much connected to Arkham, and unfortunately, it fell very short. Now, I want to let you guys in on a little secret. I'm actually reshooting this video for the second time, and you're like, why are you reshooting this for a second time? Well, it's because of Warner Brothers, unfortunately. I don't want to keep talking about Gotham Knights, but I just found out that they want to port Gotham Knights to the Nintendo Switch. At this point, it's literally just WB going through the dumpster of their old games and going, Nintendo players will pay for this. It's honestly insulting. I mean, I thought the Arkham Asylum collection was kind of insulting. Most of those games have been free at one point or another, both through Xbox or PlayStation Plus, especially Arkham Knight. And most of those games can be picked up for $5. All right, that's honestly enough about Gotham Knights. It does not even deserve that much conversation. The next one is Multiverses. This one was a really cool idea and it's kind of a shame to see it fall through. This combined all of Warner Brothers IPs through every single medium that they could find and put it into a really well-polished Smash clone. So what was the problem? Well, it was free to play, which is fine. You can have stuff be free to play. The well-known inclination of free to play is that you will be paying money for something down the line if you want something more. You can enjoy the base game, But cosmetics and stuff like that, things that shouldn't alter the game, are going to cost you a little money here and there. I found out, and I think a lot of players found out, MultiVersus, despite being launched in a beta build or a beta version, was pretty much a complete game, and they were just testing the waters to see how much money they could get out of players. Why do I say that? Well, there was well over $250 of microtransaction DLC that you had to purchase. You could not earn it in the game whatsoever. You can say whatever you want about Halo 5, but at least they let you earn rec points, and at least they let you buy rec packs with the earned rec points. At least Fortnite, when you do the free season pass, lets you use those V-Bucks, and they let you just keep getting a new season pass. This was not the case with MultiVersus. In fact, it was much worse. There were 3 different Founders Packs that ranged from $39.99 all the way up to $100. So how is this free to play? Explain this to me. How in the world is this still free to play? It doesn't feel like it anymore. So what happened to MultiVersus? Well, it's currently gone. For some reason, I believe they said, oh, thanks for the beta build information. We'll keep working on the game. Mind you, they already took your $39, your $99, or if you were dumb enough to spend $250 in microtransactions, they took your $250 in skins and gave you a nice IOU. MultiVersus might come back sometime early 2024. We're not entirely sure. And I don't think Warner Brothers is entirely sure either. Oh my God, last but not least, let's talk about Suicide Squad. This one actually kind of bothers me a little bit because it seems like they built the entire game around being a live service and around microtransactions. It's almost like they didn't learn anything from Gotham Knights. At least Gotham Knights, they pivoted directions halfway through and they were like, nope, there's no microtransactions here, don't even know what you're talking about, and just pretended like it wasn't a thing. Suicide Squad was very blatantly just microtransaction oriented. And I think Warner Brothers caught on to the fact that nobody cared for it. Because Suicide Squad got pulled back into development, and just like MultiVersus, we have no idea when it's coming back. It might not ever come back, which is a real shame, because from the cutscenes, it looks like it was pretty much ready, or at the very least, they had all the cutscenes together, and I was actually really interested to see what Kill the Justice League was actually going to be about. Now, we're kind of at a crossroads. How long is this game going to take to come out? I honestly think we won't see Suicide Squad for another 1.5 years or more, which is a damn shame because they already went ahead and invoked Kevin Conroy into this whole situation. Kevin Conroy has been dead for months now, and pretty much after his unfortunate passing, Warner Brothers was very quick to say, hey, guess what? He's in this game. This will be his last appearance as Batman. So I really do hope that Warner Brothers, having heard all the critical feedback, fixes this, and we do get Kevin Conroy's last performance in some sort of format that's not insulting to players. So let's pull up the scoreboard, right? You've got one game that you released, and now it's forever bad. And you're gonna try and put it on Nintendo Switch players next. Okay, that's fine. If it makes you money, that works. But then you've got 2 games, one that was in development that got pulled back into development, you were ready to take pre-orders for it, and another one that was actively selling microtransactions, cosmetics, and DLC, and just kind of disappeared. So who's left holding the bag here besides gamers? I think largely in part, this still has to go all the way back to the fact that we are still taking developers and publishers at their word. Unfortunately, they are going to continue to give us double talk and all that random PR media speech that sounds really great, but then when you actually have the product in hand, you get a full picture of what they really meant, and it's not as large or as grand as what they had explained to you. It's unfortunate that gamers have to be this level of paranoid about every game. And you're like, oh, Dakota, that's ridiculous. Well, I could have made this about any other company. I really could have. I actually could have made this about Bungie. I could have made this about Square Enix. I mean, my goodness. Marvel's Avengers is getting pulled off the store this week. How are live service games working out for anybody? They're not. What about Anthem? Oh my God, that one's 4 or 5 years long dead now. I just think Warner Brothers unfortunately became the poster child for this scenario because they had banked so much and they had so many games with that business model in mind that when we said no, they were like, well, we don't have anything else. We have nothing else to give you. The only thing we have is... And that's why... Sorry. And I think that's why they put so much pressure on Mortal Kombat. I really do. And I think it's a little unfair to everybody at NetherRealm Studios that they possibly had to put up with that. Because it only goes to tarnish the reputation of Mortal Kombat. Again, 11 was a great game. It had a great story. The only thing that I'm hearing about Mortal Kombat 1 right now as a positive is that they had the cutscenes looking really good. Cool, that's a movie. So where does this leave us? Where does this leave gamers? Well, it leaves us in a really weird scenario where we can't trust anybody until we have a product 110% in our hands. And that's not where I'd like to be. I'd love to be able to have a great relationship with developers and publishers and be able to take everybody at their word and not feel like I'm being duped in some way or deceived or lied to or given half of a picture only to have the second half of the picture filled in once I've given you $60, $70. It feels like every game is modeled around microtransactions, battle passes, loot crates, season nonsense. I've had enough. I understand that you want us coming back to your game often, but you know, a good way to do that is just to make a good game with a fun gameplay loop. That's it. That's all you have to do. I really think that developers just need to be upfront and honest about what their intentions are with the game. And I think gamers, at the same time, could stand to just be a little less volatile about our reactions. We can be justified in our emotions, but we tend to go way overboard. And I also think part of that comes from the fact that we have been deceived over and over, time and time and time again, and we've just been told, we're sorry. Thank you so much for your patience. We will continue to work on the game and make its improvements. Cyberpunk, Sonic Frontiers, No Man's Sky. I don't know how many videos I see that are like, oh my God, X game redeemed itself. Wow. What if the game just launched complete right away? What if there was no need for all this post-content launch? Or what if publishers didn't push a developer to finish a game before it's done? Because you're compromising artistic integrity when you do that. You're asking the studio to give up things that they have in their vision because you want to pump out money just a little bit sooner. So that's pretty much it. That's our conversation for today. Now again, I could have made this about any publisher. I just think Warner Brothers unfortunately put themselves in the spotlight unwittingly because all of this stuff, all of these games were based around one single model. I'm really glad that Warner Brothers didn't publish Gollum because that would have just been like one more thing for me to throw in there. Oh yeah, by the way, Back 4 Blood failed too. So hey, you guys have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for watching.